Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve LeVay with the afternoon recap. Let's talk about a market here. We've got a absolutely flat market. We're up 2 on the S&Ps, up 25 on the Dow, and up 10 on the NASDAQ. Got to tell you, for a Friday, I thought there'd be a little more action in the morning with all the earnings we had, but overall, it has been a pretty boring and undramatic day. But let's talk about a couple stocks, couple setups, and things that we made some money and are looked at in the trade the morning room. Let's talk about Amazon first. The only real setup I saw on Amazon was through the 5-minute high or low, and we got that big push down off the bell right here, and then we took out the high of 360, and we took off to about 368 and change, where we kind of just sat for a little while. And at the time, I would have thought this area right here would have been a nice bull flag, but as you can see, it failed. You know, if you're in our room, you know that when you get into a flag type pattern, you're out as if we break this pattern. And of course, we broke real hard on one bar, so our stops would have been right here, and the stock never really came up again. As you can see throughout the day, we're just sitting in a nice little channel now. Doesn't mean that come Monday we might not get some upside action in this still. You know, you might find some late stragglers that are looking for an upgrade or something like that, but overall, this stock, you know, up 30 bucks, you know, had a huge run into earnings. I don't know if it really is going to push to 400 on the earnings or not over the next couple of days. I'm going to probably look for, you know, maybe to pick up a short on Monday due to the fact that we really didn't get any huge action in the afternoon here. Maybe it'll be a good short against today's high, and then we'll see what happens. If we do get above today's high on Monday, maybe it does squeeze, maybe it does. But remember, if you look at the daily here, we did have a very big run from about 320 to here. Okay, I'm sorry, about 305, because we had this big bar here. So about $75, $65 in movement over a week's time. We'll have to see how this plays out. One of the other stocks that we're really paying attention to is this VJET, another 3D printer to add to my arsenal here. As you can see, the first 5 days have been very volatile. This bar right here is very encouraging to me. You know, we had a big green bar yesterday after 2 pretty ominous sell-offs right here. And if we can get above the high of today, which was 35.50 come Monday, I have a feeling we're going to try and test this 38 area again. Let's take a look at the 5-minute of this stock. And as you can see, quick 5-minute high-low trade right here. You know, we got a quick sell-off, nothing more than a 10-minute sell-off right here. But this bar was pretty good, took us to our low at 32.75. And as you can see, it tailed there and kind of just sat around most of the afternoon. We are up about $1 in the stock, but again, the action, here's a rounded bottom, another rounded bottom. It's just kind of hanging out here. We'll see how the stock closes. But overall, I really like the prospects of this stock going forward. I like the way it trades. I like the way it's doing some decent volume. And I like, again, that it's in my favorite sector, which is the 3D printers right now. Let's take a look at a couple of the other 3D printers. X1 hasn't really traded well in a couple days. Still trying to get above this range right here of about 56. It is flagging or consolidating nicely off of this move off of 42. But again, you know, we're not getting any juice. So unless we get above this area right here, I'm going to stay away. It might take till earnings. DDD has earnings on the 29th, which might give this sector a little bit of a jolt. Or if DDD's earnings aren't great, remember, we've run nicely into earnings here. Here's DDD off of this big down day right here. We've done nothing but go straight up. Almost hit my target of 60 today. Went to 59 and change. You know, this has been a really nice trade off of 52. And again, not my favorite stock to trade, but overall, if you're trading like a swing trade in it, it's a very hard day trade. If you're swinging in swing trades or you're doing options, this would have been a very nice play off of that, you know, area right in here, 50 to 52, maybe even 54, gave you $5 in profit there. So something that I'll keep an eye on next week, of course, when it has earnings. But you know, overall, a very hard day trade for this one. SSYS down $1.60 today. I talk about this in our chat room all the time. This is a nice W pattern that has yet to fulfill itself It did try to make a new high. 113.49 is the high. We got as high as 112.94. So we came within 50 cents. The good thing is that it's flagging up here, okay, within a $8 range right here. Earnings for SSYS are, I will tell you in 1 second. Earnings are November 7th. So we might dilly-dally in this range for the next week or so, and then November 7th, we'll know once and for all which way this thing's going to go. You know, the last earnings, the stock went up a little bit, and the earnings before that, it went down. So we don't really know what's going to happen, obviously, but if earnings are good, I would suspect that this measured move of this W takes this stock to around 130. So again, if the earnings are good, I project a 130 price target. If the earnings are bad, I'm looking at this stock back in the low 90s. You know, if they're just in line or whatever, maybe the low 90s, and then we reset up again for a move higher later on. I don't know if the stock's going to get beaten down on earnings or what, but again, this is still a very hot sector, and in my opinion, very early in the game for these 3D printers. I know, you know, you go to a Staples and you see a 3D printer on sale now for $2,500, and they're a lot smaller than the ones you see in factories and stuff like that. But, you know, in time, these printers will probably be something that households have. 10 years down the road, this might be, you know, the sector of sectors because everybody's going to have them. It's just like having your dot matrix printer or your laser printer that you have at home now. You know, back in the 80s and early 90s, you had your dot matrix, and then you have your laser printers and camera printers and all that. So we'll just wait and see what happens. But, again, a great sector to trade. Other stocks we looked at today, Zynga. You know, a little disappointed that we didn't get that move above 4 that I was hoping for. The stock has gotten as high as 403 all the way back right about here. So this was back in March. Okay, we got as high as 405, and then we fell, made new lows. The only thing I don't like about Zynga is this tail. You know, if you're liking these cheap stocks and you're looking for a big move in them, guess what? It had a 50-cent, 60-cent move today. I don't know if it's washed in there or not, but, you know, if you're swinging this, 350 is a good level. If it breaks that, I'd get out. If we can clear this high on Monday or next week sometime, maybe you get to 450 or 5. And the overall price target for this one, probably closer to $6. So we'll see what happens. Facebook, a little disappointing action today, but again, overall, it's flat. The stock is literally just basing in this range. Earnings are next, I think, Wednesday, October 30th. Just basing in this $2, $3, $4 range right here. Here's the thing with Facebook. The stock has more than doubled on earnings, the last earnings report. The stock has had a mammoth run from 26 up to 56, basically. In my opinion, does that mean this has to have blowout earnings? No, it doesn't have to have blowout earnings, but it has to have a number that's going to keep this stock afloat. I don't think it's going to catch anybody by surprise this quarter, obviously. And if the earnings are good, guess what? The stock rises to $60, $65. If the earnings are bad, I guess it's probably going to get into the mid-40s. I don't think that they're going to hit this thing too bad. I think this is like a stock market darling right now. And with Twitter coming up in 2-3 weeks, you know, I don't see that Facebook is going to get hit. Even with bad earnings, I'd be surprised if it broke in the mid-40s. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with Facebook. But, again, remember to know when your stocks have earnings. Write them down on a piece of paper, whatever the case may be, because you always want to be prepared. You don't want to get caught by surprise, you know, taking Facebook 1,000 shares overnight, comes out with bad earnings, you're down 3, 4, 5 points in it. And just because all you had to do was avoid it by knowing when the stock had earnings. So, again, overall, gang, not an overly exciting Friday, but a decent week overall. And next week we got Apple, we got FSLR, we got a couple of the solars. And, you know, we'll see what happens next week with them. But overall, it was an okay week. There was a lot of movement, a lot of earnings trades, and hopefully you were able to capitalize on some of that. With that, everybody, have a great weekend. I will talk to you all on the VTF next week.